Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're an SMB importer or an Amazon FBA seller, you already know that nailing your China to USA shipping routes is absolutely crucial. But today we're going way beyond the basics. We're doing a complete walkthrough on how mastering specific port pairs and fine-tuning your transit times can literally transform your bottom line. We've pulled some fantastic insights from AEB Logistics to give you a definitive roadmap, so let's just get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our exact journey today. We'll start with the SMB Shipping Challenge, move into China port pair strategies, then look at transit times and reliability, followed by mastering final mile delivery, and finally, choosing the right forwarder.
So, starting off with Part 1, the SMB Shipping Challenge.
Are hidden shipping costs eating into your profit margins? I want you to really think about your current operations for a second. Unpredictable fees, sudden customs delays, opaque shipping costs. These are the silent killers of e-commerce businesses. A lot of the time, the supply chain feels like this giant black box, right? Your goods leave a factory in China, and you're basically just crossing your fingers, hoping they arrive on budget. But as we all know, hope is not a strategy, especially when your profitability is on the line.
AEB Logistics has actually documented the 6 most common mistakes when shipping from China to the US. And let me tell you, these errors are expensive. The biggest offenders? Well, ignoring hidden fees by using the wrong shipping terms is a huge one. Then there's choosing a forwarder based strictly on the cheapest initial quote and failing to prepare proper customs documentation. Fun fact for you, getting just a single HDS code wrong can literally leave your goods stranded at the port, racking up massive storage fees. So, by understanding these pitfalls now, you're protecting your margins before the cargo even leaves the factory floor. Moving right along to Part 2, China port pair strategies. Let's talk about port pairs. It sounds like logistics jargon, but it's really just the specific combination of an origin port in China and a destination port in the US. You see, you don't just ship from China to the US. You ship from a very specific location, like Shenzhen, to a specific destination, like New York or LA. Selecting the optimal port pair isn't just trivia. It's the absolute foundational secret to shaving days off your transit times and drastically cutting your costs.
Now, what's really interesting here is when we map out top Chinese origin ports, places like Shenzhen, Qingdao, Ningbo, Shanghai, and Tianjin, directly to a major U.S. destination like New York. Pulling from AEB Logistics case studies, we see that if your supplier is down in southern China, routing directly through Shenzhen rather than trucking those goods all the way up to Shanghai saves you crucial days before the ocean voyage even begins. Optimizing these exact pairings makes sure your cargo takes the most direct, efficient path possible.
All right, on to Part 3, transit times and reliability.
This is the classic logistical balancing act, right? Air cargo versus sea freight. As an FBA seller, you already know air is super fast but really expensive, while sea is your slower, much more cost-effective workhorse. But the real genius is in how you blend them. Air freight is your lifeline for emergency restocks, like when you're staring down Amazon stockouts or pushing highly seasonal, high-margin items. Sea freight, on the other hand, requires rigid inventory forecasting. Mastering this balance against your FBA storage limits is exactly how you win the logistics game. Let's ground this in reality for a second by tracking a standard 20-foot container. AEB Logistics provided this incredible case study, specifically following a 20-footer from Shenzhen to the US. By looking at a real-world ocean freight execution for this exact size, we can step away from theoretical best-case scenarios and see exactly how long it actually takes to move standard shipments in today's wild, unpredictable market. So here is what that actual timeline looks like on the ground. First, your goods spend a few days at the origin factory being consolidated. Second, they travel to the China port for customs clearance, which usually takes another few days. Third is that main ocean leg, which takes several weeks. And finally, U.S. port arrival kicks off the unloading and domestic customs process. Visualizing this whole flow is so helpful because it shows you exactly where your inventory is tied up. It's also a great reminder that those port clearance stages, that's usually where unexpected friction and delays tend to strike the hardest.
And that brings us to Part 4, mastering final mile delivery.
Listen, if there is only one thing you take away from this entire explainer, let it be the absolute power of DDP, Delivered Duty Paid. In a DDP agreement, the logistics provider assumes all the responsibility, the risk, and the costs. And yes, that includes those dreaded customs duties. They handle the whole shebang until the goods are safely delivered to your warehouse or Amazon FBA center. It offers incredible predictability and totally protects you from receiving a massive, unexpected bill the very second your cargo hits U.S. soil.
To really highlight why DDP is so valuable, you have to look at the alternative, the CIF trap. AEB Logistics warns heavily about the dangers of cost, insurance, and freight shipping terms. There are so many hidden costs lurking beneath the surface of CIF shipping that can completely sink your profit margins. We're talking exorbitant destination handling charges, unexpected customs broker fees, surprise storage costs. A CIF quote might look wonderfully cheap on day one, but trust me, it rarely is when that final invoice arrives.
Let's see how this builds into a seamless DDP process. Step 1. Your container arrives at the U.S. port. Step 2. Integrated customs brokerage takes over, handling all that tricky HTS code clearance without you lifting a single finger. Step 3. The goods transfer to domestic trucking. And Step 4. Final delivery directly to the Amazon FBA warehouse. When you have a reliable forwarder handling this entire door-to-door process, the final mile goes from being a massive headache to being completely beautifully frictionless.
Which leads us nicely into our final section, Part 5, choosing the right forwarder.
Because the strategy is really only as good as the partner executing it, let's look at some real-world proof. This is a verified Trustpilot review from a client named Majestic Zen. They point out that Alan from AEB is incredibly easy to communicate with, responds quickly, and just removes the headaches. In international trade, where a 12-hour time zone difference and language barriers can cause absolute chaos, having a forwarder who prioritizes rapid, clear communication is honestly worth its weight in gold.
And another client, Purify US, echoes this perfectly. They highlighted being kept updated at every single stage of the process, which actually led to a faster-than-expected delivery. AEB Logistics maintains a super strong 4.3-star Trustpilot rating specifically because they treat logistics as a long-term partnership. They provide proactive updates and live tracking, giving e-commerce sellers the ultimate gift, peace of mind. That way, you can actually focus on selling your products, not constantly tracking cargo ships.
So, to summarize AEB's industry insights, here's your quick checklist when comparing China to USA freight forwarders. Number 1. Live tracking. You absolutely need to know exactly where your cargo is. Number 2. Transparent quotes. Insist on knowing all the costs up front so you can avoid that nasty CIF trap we talked about. Number 3. Integrated customs brokerage. They should be handling all the complex legal paperwork seamlessly for you. And number 4. FBA expertise. Your forwarder absolutely must know Amazon's very strict delivery and palletizing requirements inside and out.
So, what does this all mean for you? I'll leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Is your current supply chain truly optimized from the factory floor all the way to your door? If you're dealing with unpredictable transit times, surprise fees, or poor communication, well, the answer is probably no. But as we've seen today, by strategically selecting your port pairs, leveraging DDP shipping, and partnering with an expert forwarder, you can take total control back. It might just be time to reevaluate your current setup and seek out a smarter shipping quote today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, here's to smoother shipping and way wider profit margins.